The forecast of rain had me riding inside today, and I had a hankering to do a Zwift race because I was downgraded to Category C. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. With only a few races in the time slot I was looking for, I settled on this one because it had quite a few people in it, and I thought this was a flatter course, which goes to the title of this video. The first race I did as a downgraded C was this past Sunday, and it was filled with action. I was told it was the who's who, the C's category, because it was a Glasgow crit that people were using to prep for the official race on Tuesday. Though I have lots of room for improvement, I was pleased with my result. I'll have that race listed in the description below. After you're done with this one, check out that one. But that was all to say in prep, because this one, when it started out, it felt a lot easier. I didn't have to use as much power at the starts, and it felt a lot easier staying with this group at the front. In fact, at times it felt too easy. Well, that's because everyone else knew something that I didn't, and that is Box Hill. Just about 2 miles of climbing. Now, I love to climb when I'm on the road. In fact, I work at that, and that's one of the main parts of a lot of the races that I do, a key part. But climbing in Zwift, let's just say I go out of my way to look for the flattest road race I can do. I was in back of the pack, and the pack was actually about 30 strong, 29 strong out of the 60 riders that we started with. I was hoping I could move myself to the front few rows and just set myself there, but I was having a little trouble doing that. At the bottom of the climb, I was in about 27th position, and thus far I've moved myself up to about 17th position. If I can make contact with those guys, that's going to help a lot. Now, I would imagine there's not a lot of draft, but any little bit of draft that I can get, that's great. Well, I thought I was catching up to the group, but a couple of people have fallen off, so now I'm about 15th position. Looking up ahead, it looks like they're all in one big group, but when you look at the graphics on the right, they're spread out between 2 seconds to 3-4 seconds. Let's take a moment to go over a little bit of data for those of you not familiar with my channel. I'm about 74-75 kilograms. I am told my FTP is close to the CB borderline, but my short-term power is definitely Category C. Now that makes sense because in a couple months I turn 68. So I've passed a couple more people that have dropped off, and now that I have to dial back from the pace that I've been doing, I'm getting picked off by a couple people. Well, I certainly wasn't ready for this climb, and we've gone a mile, so I have 0.9 miles to go. The thought of my going over the top with the leaders is now dissipating. And so now I'm looking at plan B. I still have a ways to go, but I want to be with a small group, so maybe we can work our way up to catching up to that group on the flats. I can see them ahead right around that corner. When I was doing this race, I had no idea how much farther I'd have to go to get to the top. Now, I did know that it was 1.9 miles. In fact, you can even see it on the graphics on the left-hand side, 1.9 mile. But I didn't have the wherewithal to see where I was in terms of mileage when I started. So without knowing how much farther I have to go, I am making sure that I'm toward the front, but not at the front. Because again, I want to go over with a small group. I'm also thinking that I have to sustain a lot of power to be competitive on this climb. And that if I'm doing all this power, that can pop me back up to the B's. And I'm really liking being in the C's because I'm being competitive in this as opposed to the B's where I'm just pack fodder. With that in mind, on this climb, I'm starting to look at the graphics on the right, looking at my watts per kilogram, and remembering that the upper limit for the C's for this race is 3.2 watts per kilogram. I'm also thinking if I can maintain close to 3.2 on this climb, then it'll drop down to the overall average, especially when I descend, when I'm doing a lot less power. It was a nice idea in concept, but that didn't always work because I had to apply more power to stay up with these guys. As we near the top, we are a chase group of 4 with our best position at 13th. The main group we're chasing is about 46 seconds ahead of us, and there are some stragglers. When we got to the flats, we weren't doing a lot of chasing, especially me. I wasn't doing a lot of chasing. When we got to this short, steep kicker hill, boy, that really showed that I don't have that quick power, that I'm definitely not a sprinter. Now, these guys are going away. I'm going to have to chase them, but you can tell by my picture that I'm kind of reamed right now. And we're caught by another group of 4. I'm not even looking at the graphics on the right hand side, which now I know there's people behind me. So I'm trying to get my legs together so I can go grab a wheel. Now there's a guy about 4 seconds behind me. The next one after that's like 12 seconds. So My only chance really is to catch this guy that's in front of me, and then hopefully we can work together, or he can drag me up to the others. Fortunately, we were able to catch them. And we also caught and passed some others. By the time we hit the climb again, our chase group went from racing for 13th to racing for 7th. The bottom part of the climb that we're currently on is not quite as steep as the rest of the climb after you do that right-hand turn. 42-year-old Greg Skinner tried to get away in order to start ahead of us on that climb. He was pulled back in right before that corner and countered by 57-year-old Curtis Hobbs. 42-year-old Sam Simpson is seeing that Hobbs has some legs, so he's going to scoot up to him and work with him. The rest of us are pretty much stretched out. The main thing that's going through my mind right now is that the first time I was up this climb, I died out just about in the middle of it. I had to slow down a lot and gather my legs and then hope for a group that I can go over the top. Well, this is now the finish. So what's going through my mind is the mantra, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I got that from NorCal Cyclist. This pacing technique is working for me. And now a little over a mile into this climb, a little over halfway, and I'm getting close to catching Hobbs. And yes, I'm also thinking about that watts per kilogram limit for the Cs. That's probably helping me keep on with that slow is smooth, smooth is fast technique. Again, because I didn't check out the mileage at the start of this climb, I don't know exactly how far that we have to go. I do kind of remember what the top looks like, so, I'm good. The other 5 of us that started this climb, they're pretty far off. They're ranged from 6 to about 14 seconds back of us. Steve Sampson has made a bid to finish solo. Now Hobbs is going after him, and I'm just trying to get on Hobbs' wheel so that I can maybe see if I can sprint him at the end. Sampson, doing 4 watts per kilogram, is pulling away from us, and I'm sticking with my 3.2 to 3.4 or so. Now, if I thought I could catch Steve, I would, but I've been pretty much going at threshold, and I was thinking that if I tried to push it and go after him, I'd probably blow up and end up behind Hobbs. So I chose to sit on. In fact, that gave me a little bit of a rest, so right now I started a very long sprint and hope that I can maintain it. Hobbs sees this, and now he's pushing after me. So now that he's gone off the screen, I'm looking at the data at the bottom of the screen. He's about 6 meters behind me, and he's holding that. He's now 7 meters. With the finish line in sight, I can see Hobbs' fire socks burning the road, and I'm able to hold it. 8th place. I'll gladly take that. I hope you enjoyed this video. And now that you're done with this one, go to the description below and check out that Glasgow Crit video. A lot of action in that one. You'll enjoy it. All right, you know the drill, and if you don't, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.